We're going to look at proportional reasoning using unit rate. That's the method we'll use to solve. Our overall expectation is to solve problems involving proportional reasoning, and the specific expectation is to represent, using equivalent ratios and proportions, directly proportional relationships arising from realistic relationships. So let's take our inquiry type question here. We'll read through it once, then come back and highlight whatever's important the second time through. A standard punch requires 2 cans of orange juice and 1 bottle of ginger ale. When using 4 bottles of ginger ale, how many cans of orange juice are needed for the punch? Okay, this one's pretty straightforward. A standard punch requires 2 cans of orange juice. Okay, and I'm going to highlight ginger ale type information as a different color, and 1 bottle of ginger ale. When using 4 bottles of ginger ale, okay, how many cans of orange juice? So how many cans of orange juice are needed for the punch? So pretty much everything we've read here seems to be pretty important. It's very straight to the point, this question. So let's set this up. We have our category of OJ, and that's in cans. And let's make sure we spell it right. Cans, okay. And it turns out we need 2 cans of OJ, our ratio, for every 1 ginger ale bottle for a punch. It's a lot, okay. Now, we said we're going to use unit rate to solve this. Well, unit rate, okay, when we're talking about rates here, is when we have something set up so that one of the values is the number 1. So our rate here could be, we could say it's OJ per ginger ale, okay, and per is essentially the value of 1. So we want ginger ale to be 1. Well, it turns out we've already got that type of information. That's one of the unit rates we could use. We could also use another rate, though. We could use a unit rate that says ginger ales per OJ, okay, and per being the number 1. That's where we'd have to turn OJ into 1. So we have one relationship or one unit rate set up. We'll call that the first one here. We'll number it. That will be the one that we do in blue, okay. And the second unit rate we have is actually we'll do in purple. So the first one's set up. I'm going to set up the second unit rate. That's where we'll give our check mark. What we're going to do in this one is we need to make sure that OJ is represented as the value of 1. So to reduce 2 to the value of 1, we're going to need to use a relationship that is somewhat decreasing. So we can divide by the value of 2. Okay. We could technically multiply by a half. Okay, but it needs to be some type of growing relationship, so multiplication or division, to move this. Since we're dividing by 2 OJ, we're going to also divide by 2 our ginger ale bottles. Okay, so our ratio for our second one, the purple, can be written as a half, so 1 to 1/2, or if you prefer decimals, 1 to 0.5. Okay, so we have our unit rates here. So we're going to rate them with them. In this one, we have a 2 to 1 unit rate. And in this one, we have a, I guess we'll write it at 0.5 to 1 unit rate. Okay. Now the question said that we need 4 bottles of ginger ale, if you recall. Okay. 4 bottles of ginger ale. So in other words, we need this ratio to build to the number 4. Okay. In our first example, the blue, we're going to need to multiply by 4, technically divide by a quarter or 0.5. But this is very easy. Let's always use whole numbers as we're moving these around. So we'll multiply by 4, which means we need to multiply the other side by 4. So 4 by 2, you can take a calculator out if you like. But it looks like we're going to need 8 cans, because it's cans, of OJ. Let's see if our other unit rate gets us the same information. We need ginger ale, okay, to build up to 4. So we need to take 0.5 and multiply it by some value to get 4. So this one could be a little harder to tell. Maybe off the top of our head we don't know. So what we can do in this case is we take out a calculator, and if I actually divide the two, it'll tell me the rate I need to multiply by. So I'm going to take the number 4 and divide it by 0.5. Okay? And I need a number larger than actually 4 to get here. And it turns out we need to multiply by 8. Okay, so 0.5 times 8, and let's test it out. 0.5 times 8 gives us 4. Perfect. So the value we're multiplying by is the number 8. So what we did to ginger ale, we have to do to the OJ. We multiply it by 8. And 1 times 8, we hopefully already know, is a value of 8. So again, we need 8 cans. So we solved it in both, got the exact same setup, didn't matter which unit rate we used. We need 8 cans of OJ for every 4 bottles of ginger ale. Okay. If you'd like to see other ways to solve this question, just check out our other playlists on proportional reasoning.